First off, full disclosure, I was devastated that this press screening was not in 3D. Why? Because a few years ago when they had the Finding Nemo re-release in 3D, I decided to go, and it was one of the best movie-going experiences of my life. They played Partysaurus Rex beforehand, which was, I think, to date the best Toy Story short, and then Finding Nemo in 3D was just so breathtaking. You really felt like you went under the sea. So a big part of my wanting to see Finding Dory was to have that same experience once again. And I have tickets to see the movie, to pay to see it again on Saturday in 3D, so I'll be sure to tweet if the movie is better in 3D. Because I have to say, this experience of going to see Finding Dory and Piper, at least in 2D, was nowhere near on the level of that Finding Nemo 3D re-release experience back in, 2012. But even beyond the 3D, but I'm really hung up on that. I'm really upset that they didn't show it in 3D. Even beyond that, Pixar, as we all know, is moving very strongly into the sequel business, right? But they might want to reconsider that business plan because they still haven't cracked how to make a sequel. So, I mean, I'm sure some of you are like right now, like, what about Toy Story 2 and 3, Grace? You're ridiculous. And I think Toy Story 2 and 3 are certainly the best sequels that the studio has made. However, I think we can all agree that there has yet to be a Pixar sequel that has the same magic of an original Pixar movie. Now, the biggest problem that Finding Dory has, is that it just seems really small, which is weird for a movie that takes place in the ocean, right? And on that note, a comparison is that in Finding Nemo, it took like 3/4 of the movie to cross the ocean, right? While in Finding Dory, it takes like 5 minutes. So you're like, okay, I guess it's not such a big deal the second time around. And I guess that's kind of like, oops, a good way to describe this movie. Also, I don't think that Marlin and Nemo should have come along on this journey. And is that sacrilege? No, I think once you see the movie, you'll agree with me. Every time Finding Dory, it has a very weird story structure. Every time that it either cuts to Marlin and Nemo or cuts to Dory's childhood, her past, you really lose a lot of momentum with the story. I'm like, just tell the story. Stop. Do you not have enough story? That's kind of like how it felt sometimes, right? Like they were padding it. The best parts of the movie were when Dory was at the aquarium interacting with new characters. I love Ed O'Neill's octopus, and I love Idris Elba's seal. Oh, Idris Elba is just so talented. He has really dominated the voiceover field this year with this, Jungle Book, and then, of course, Zootopia. And I can only hope that he will get as much live action work shortly because he's just so talented. The range shown in voiceover work alone is spectacular. But we'll discuss that more in the spoiler review. We'll also discuss in the spoiler review the crazy end sequence, which I felt was not only like totally out of left field, especially for a Pixar movie. I was like, did Michael Bay come in here to try and help do something here? I don't know what's going on. But I also felt it was really irresponsible, actually. But again, I don't want to give it away because part of it is just being like, part of the fun of it is like, what the hell is happening? So we'll discuss the pluses and minuses of that sequence in the spoiler review. But I really liked it when Dory's character met new characters and interacted with them, including her parents. I think that besides Ed O'Neill and Idris Elba, I really liked Eugene Levy and Diane Keaton as Dory's parents. And interestingly, both of those comedic actors who were very manic in their live action work, here they slowed down their delivery and were a little more relaxed, and it really worked for them. They should consider doing that maybe in their live action work. They just came across as so incredibly kind and wonderful. I liked them. But again, every time the movie would go try and reference Finding Nemo or go back to Dory's childhood, I really felt like the movie was going backward. Taking too many steps back and pulling me out of it. Now, also, speaking of live action, the animation here and in the short in front of this movie, Piper, is spectacular. There are times when you feel like you're watching live action, and so that's very commendable. But I don't think it's a good sign for a movie when you're distracted by the animation, because Pixar's innovation is supposed to be primarily story, right? And then they just back it up with spectacular animation. But I would say that Finding Dory sometimes plays like a really good special effects reel, right? Than a legitimate movie. Now, should you see Finding Dory? Well, if you're a Pixar and or animation fan, for sure, you're definitely going to go, right? And Pixar, I think, to some degree, has become maybe a little bit too comfortable with that situation, and that people just go and see their movies. Although, tell that to the Good Dinosaur, which actually I enjoy. But anyway, also, if you just want to go to the movies, this is certainly very relaxing. And, please, I suggest you see it in 3D, or else it's going to feel, I think, a little bit like a straight to streaming movie. But I think if you have like a soda and a popcorn and you go and you sit in the air-conditioned theater, it's summer, people have been waiting for this, I think you'll have a good time. I would just keep those expectations low. I saw another critic who said this was like Monsters University kind of level, and I think that's a pretty good way to describe it. But that's not the Pixar that we all fell in love with. That's not the Pixar that became the industry leader that it is supposed to be today, and they better fix that if they want to maintain that position. Although, watch this win an Oscar. If this wins best, I guess that's the only good thing out of this, is that the best animated feature race this year is wide open, unless they just prove their favoritism over there at the Academy. All right, so that's my non-spoiler review of Finding Dory. Stay tuned later today for the spoiler review, and you can check out some other episodes right now.